I figure I'll go with Dark Side. Love this magazine. One of the best classic horror magazines on the stands. British magazine. British magazines are the best. My man Alan, they always get the funny editorials. But we'll just go right into, I don't want to cover all of this. I want you to get this. I don't want you, I don't want to give away all this stuff. I love the old posters. The infamous London After Midnight. Right? The lost film. Right? They have the stills, though. So it's better than nothing. Right? I remember watching this on Channel 11 in the 80s, like late at night. This film, it was like, supposedly this film was scandalous. It ruined the career of the director, but yeah, essentially the killer, films women as he kills them. And remember Shelley Ann Field, right? She was the woman in The Damned, one of my favorite films, the most underrated Hammer film, one of the most underrated Hammer films. But I remember this other film she was in, right? The War Lover. Anybody remember that? They showed that on Channel 9 a bunch of times. I remember watching that as a kid. The War Lover. That was a great movie, man. Steve McQueen plays kind of like a villain. But rest in peace. 87. The years are going by, man. These people are mostly all gone. Had something here on Colin Clive. I didn't realize this guy has such a tragic life, man. He didn't even make it. He died the same year as Lovecraft. Bad alcoholic, That's why he was in Mad Love. Remember that film? That film was crazy. Peter Lorre. Love these old posters, though. Yeah, interesting. Didn't know that about them, man. Sorry, bro. I was like, right. Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. What a great film. And I never knew Ray Lovelock. He passed away. I thought he just died. He died in 2017. Remember Ray Lovelock? Dude was in some awesome movies, of course. Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. He was the bad guy in Autopsy, right? One of the best movies he was ever in. It was a crazy movie that I'm going to go over someday. Live Like a Cop, Die Like a Man. Shows you the crazy Italian crime films. But just reading the letter, I just found a new book to look for. Right? I know I don't have enough damn books. Right? Haunted Seasons, right? It's the person who wrote a letter. It's a Haunted Seasons by Derek Johnston. Academic book looking at television ghost stories for Christmas and Halloween, both in the UK and the USA. I'm looking that up now. Thank you, mate. So, Night of the Demons. That was a good movie, but I'm not really gonna go over it too much. I never saw all of the Mad Monster Party. Never saw all of this, right? So I remember Boris Karloff and this chick, this Poison Ivy looking chick, but from Phyllis Diller. Remember Phyllis Diller? No, you don't, because I'm old, man. But basically, Rankin and Bass film. Right? Rankin and Bass made a lot of. They made the best Lord of the Rings work, in my opinion. Goes all the Christmas stuff, right? Santa Claus is coming to town. Remember? But Mad Monster Party. I think I saw part of this. I think they showed this a lot more. I think before my time. What was interesting just looking through this was that a lot of the Rankin and Bass stuff, the stop motion stuff, but also obviously later on, of course, you could see in the animation with The Hobbit and Return of the King and a few other things. You could see that there was a Japanese influence, and what do you know? Right, the stop motion was done right by a Japanese studio, Tadahito Mochinaga, right, pioneer in stop motion animation, began with his propaganda work during the Second World War. All right. He came to regret one film, Momotaro's Sea Eagles, which heroically depicted the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Remember, Eiji Surabaya was in the same thing. So interesting. Didn't know that with the stop motion work. Of course, the animation later is Japanese, but really cool. Proto-Giallo, right? This is an interesting article going into, right? Of course, the whole Edgar Watt, the guy who wrote essentially King Kong, also wrote all these criminal, masked criminal, psycho killer kind of like thrillers, right? With really cool names. It's really influenced the Germans and the Italians, of course. The Giallos that come later are very graphic. I keep saying like these early films, these German crimi films, right? Like the German crimi of the 60s. It's almost like, imagine Batman, but like there's no Batman. There's only like the cops and detectives. And like, one of Batman's rogues gallery is causing havoc. Of course, they show the early Giallo films, Tenebrae, right? Interesting. I mean, going in really, really deep. I mean, I don't even think you can see half these movies here. Of course, you see they're really cool. The Italians always make great poster arts, whether it was the photo collages or just like the artwork. Always up there with the Japanese, in my opinion. As usual. Interesting. Well, Bernardo Bertolucci, remember The Last Emperor, right? The Grim Reaper. Interesting. He started out with the kind of like a thriller, but this is going in real deep, real deep. But just more great posters. Love it. Italiano. Yeah. Of course, the first Giallo is what? Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace. And what is this? Einer frisst der anderen. What does that mean? Ein Hart Getzada thriller. I guess that means a heart-stopping thriller. I'm assuming that. I don't know. Cameron Mitchell. Anyway, this is what I'm saying. When you get this magazine, you get all the classic stuff. You get always a British thing. You always get the Euro horror in here, the Italian continental stuff, and you get some new stuff. But far and few between. Is that any good? Now, I'm going to some of the reviews. I never saw this movie. I've heard of this Horror of the Black Museum. This horrible, oh my God, this horrible scene with the opera glasses. Oh jeez, I've heard of that. I never saw it, but they got the cool reviews here. This was like the first British horror actor. This guy Todd Slaughter, making these British horror films. I mean, they're kind of like he's just always playing like an evil person, but he was kind of like the first British horror actor. Prolific. He's in all these movies. Interesting. I still have never seen it, and I like how they describe Mr. Slaughter. His acting range never exceeding the parameters set at over the top. There was over the top, and then there was way over the bloody top. I like that. It's arguable that he exerted an influence over the fruity. Hey, what are you trying to say? Fruity thespian stylings of Vincent Price, and his penchant for witty bon mots on the point of murder. So they interpret Freddy Krueger and his wisecracking contemporaries. That's interesting. I've never seen Todd Slaughter film, but heard of him. I get to some of the reviews here. Oh, it's high tension. Oh, no, bad. We don't like this movie. Very bad. Actually, this movie is great. I love the ending of it. So, it hasn't aged well. Yeah, because the murderer is lesbian. Oh, come on. I thought we were all equal. We could all have murderers. Night of the Devils. I've actually seen this. This is actually really good film. Really good. Weird, movie. Italian, like very underrated, right? The Vortolac, right? The same, right? It's the same source material as what was done in Black Sabbath, right? The vampire story, right? Told, and that's true, right? I I remember the Vordelak by Tolstoy. I'm like, Tolstoy wrote a horror thing. It's not to be confused with the, the thing Charlie Brown had to read, that we could. And music by Giorgio Gaslini, the guy who made the original music for Deep Red, which you still hear in the film. Anyway, and I've gone over the later Jean Roland films, right? Night of the Hunted, and they also cover Fascination, right? The 4 gory horror films that he made later in the 70s and the early 80s, those 4 films I think are his best. I know the sacrilege, to his, all his vampire films, but I always think that Night of the Hunted, Living Dead Girl, Fascination, and The Grapes of Death, right, are the best films he ever did. Was Carrie, De Palma, I was talking to my friend. The jury's still out on him with me. Okay, made Dress to Kill is great, although it's not as based as you think. I'm gonna bring that up someday. Carrie is pretty nasty. Of course, Phantom of Paradise is that movie is awesome. But jury's still out on him. Andy Warhol's Flesh for Frankenstein. I've seen Blood for Dracula a couple of times. I only saw this once. This was pretty damn nasty. With always the great Joe D'Alessandro, that guy, always great, man, always great. Yeah, and Fascination, right? I didn't even know this. You believe this? I didn't know this film was based on Jean Lorrain. I'm a fan of his his work, the 19th century decadent dope fiend, ether drinker, and dandy, known to his friends as the ambassador from Sodom. What did his enemies call him? Yeah, that's a whole other story I'll get into maybe by the time Halloween rolls around. But now what is this? Blu-ray? They're putting stuff out on 4K. Does anybody in the comments? Has anyone has a 4K player? I mean, how many damn formats are you gonna try to get us with, bro? Oh, I remember when this was on TV. I like Kiss. I'm a fan of Kiss. Yeah, I know. You're like, what? Yeah, I know Chaim Witz. He's a kind of a jerk off. Everybody at the end, Ace and Peter are like the real cool dudes, right? But the music is great, man. They make great music. I don't care what anybody says. Great music. All your black metal bands like these dudes, except maybe Varg. And it's funny, making this film was hilarious, right? Paul Stanley, right? Nobody in the band had the slightest clue about acting. None of us read the script. We didn't care. When we started filming, it didn't take an expert in the field to know we were in deep shit and there was no getting out of it. They actually I believe they dubbed Ace in this because he was so drunk. And it was just, now it's like great. Now watching this is a lot of fun, but I guess it was kind of disappointing at the time. The Alice Cooper actually made better films. Remember, what was it? Made a bunch of concert films. What was the one that was like? I forget. Why do I forget that? I saw it was on YouTube. Yeah, but I know a lot of people don't like Kiss, but I like Kiss. Gordon Hessler did this. He made some movies I like too, like the Oblong Box. Yeah. Anyway, rounding it out because I'm running out of time. And I want to go over every little thing. Once again, man, they don't... Listen, Guillermo del Toro, I'm going to say this. Arkham, I'm sorry, dude. This dude is overrated, bro. This dude is overrated. I'm sorry. Mimic was great movie, but he was overrated. Very overrated. And also, I like Del Toro. He's such a great dude. Originally, I wanted the husband to die and the black cop to survive. Actually, I wanted the husband to be black, have them as a mixed couple, but someone at Miramax said America is not ready for that in a mainstream film. So, yeah, cause in Mexico, I know they're ready for that, right? Fuck out of here. Anyway, one at a time. Never heard of this film. Richard Burton. Oh, man, near the end, huh? And remember Billy Connolly? Remember the Scottish guy? Never heard of this film. Might check this out. The crazy film. Looks like something like The Exorcist, like that kind of Omen Exorcist type thing. But we're running out of time. Oh, don't show that. So, and the next issue looks really good. Really, really good. As usual. What a great magazine. I love the horror. Love the dark side.